Thanksgiving morning, in the scrub pine of Florida, the air is still, broken only by the sound of a man's boots. A police officer works through the underbrush until he comes upon a hunter, 35-year-old Greg Wood, dead. He's taken a shotgun blast at close range. Several things strike chance as odd. Wood's belt has been cut, his wallet missing, and 2 guns he carried, a shotgun and a .357 Smith & Wesson, are gone. Chance believes Wood has been stalked and murdered, and it would appear he is not the first. Homicide detective Jim Redmond arrives on the scene.
There had, in fact, been another homicide which took place in the Osceola National Forest, also a hunting area, on the 19th of November of 1993, which would have been 5 days earlier.
In Osceola, the victim is 63-year-old Don Hill. Like Wood, Hill was killed at close range with a shotgun. Like Wood, his belt was cut, his hunting knife stolen. 4 years pass. The Hunter homicides have stopped. The task force is disbanded. The case goes cold. Gloria Southern is a records clerk for Putnam County, Florida. On a Friday morning, she sits down at her computer terminal. The Hunter homicides are cold, 4 years, but that is about to change.
Any pawn shop ticket, when I enter it into the system, if it if it's an article with serial numbers, it will automatically check it through the state system to see whether or not it has been listed as stolen in any county.
On August 6, 1997, Gloria keys a pawn ticket for a .357 Magnum into the system. 2 weeks earlier, it had been pawned at a local shop in Palatka, Florida.
When I put this one into the system, this particular gun, it came back with a hit out of Clay County.
The serial numbers from the .357 match one of the guns stolen from Greg Wood. 4 years after Wood's death, cold case detectives have their first solid lead.
Well, the lady came in and she pawned the gun, not knowing herself whether or not the gun was involved in any type of crime.
Doug Worth owns Super Pawn, the shop where Greg Wood's .357 surfaces.
I've got this 9mm used gun.
On August 7th, his shop is paid a visit from the law.
Because they suspected that the firearm was involved in a murder, that they actually came down here and gave us our money back on the firearm and took it.
Actually, I took the cash out of my pocket and bought it on the spot so I would have it in my possession.
Cold case detectives must now track back in time to find out who picked the .357 off Greg Wood's body. They start with the woman who pawned the gun, April Calloway.
The name April Calloway, I didn't know right offhand.
Putnam County Sheriff Scott Simmons helps Redmond track Calloway down.
We rode around, made contact with a few people on the street, and somebody advised me that Larry Watts was her boyfriend.
Larry Watts is a name Simmons does know, a local with a history of drug offenses. Initially, Watts and Calloway are reluctant to talk.
But once I invited them into a multiple murder investigation and convinced them that they really didn't want any part of that, they were more than willing to cooperate.
Calloway tells Redmond she pawned the gun to get grocery money for her children. She had gotten the gun from Watts, who in turn was holding it for his son, Skeeter. Skeeter then points the finger at 14-year-old Derek Mack, who sold him the .357 for $80.
Lieutenant Redmond and I went and found Derek Mack. He came to the office with us, interviewed him, and he stated that he stole the gun out of a truck in Hastings where his father and he were working.
The truck belongs to Michael Tyler. He and his brother Paul work at Central Tractor Parts in Hastings. More importantly, they fit Redmond's profile for a killer. One problem is the Tyler boys also have an alibi, and a good one.
I was in Belle Glade, Florida at the time of the shootings. I was working for a tractor dealership, and that was one of my runs. Me and my brother both just happened to be on that run, and the way we were able to prove that was we kept delivery tickets.
The Tylers tell police they had bought the guns 4 years earlier from a cousin by the name of Jimmy Ray Beagle. Beagle is of immediate interest to Redmond. For most of his life, Jimmy Ray has been nothing more than a wannabe, a security guard with a fascination for two things: the law and guns. On the day he sold Greg Wood's .357 to Paul Tyler, Jimmy Ray also gave his cousin a little insight into the gun's history.
The only thing that he ever said to me about it was, "Don't worry about it. The guy I got the guns from won't be needing them anymore."
Redmond wants to get closer to Jimmy Ray without spooking him. He asks, and Paul Tyler agrees, to wear a wire, to record his conversations with Beagle, and to draw him out about the guns.
But these son of a bitches are trying to put this murder on us. Lord have mercy.
Guilt does not work with Jimmy Ray. Redmond then instructs Tyler to appeal to Beagle's ego, to ask his cousin for help in dealing with the law.
And Jimmy Ray Beagle buys into this, and he's advising Paul, well, you know, you're in trouble, and I know Redmond, and this and that, and I'll help you get out of that.
A few days later, Jimmy Ray Beagle makes an appointment to meet Redmond at the sheriff's station in Green Cove, Florida.
And there came a point on March 24th of '97 where I decided this is it. This is where Jimmy's going to confess to me. But he's just not going to walk in here and do that. So I have to set the stage for him.
Playing in the background, undercover conversations between Beagle and his cousin, Paul Tyler. On the other side of the room, a Bible lies open on a desk. Redmond himself dresses in black, symbolic of the confessor priest. Within an hour, Jimmy Ray Beagle confesses to the first of the Hunter homicides. Then Beagle tells detectives he needs to take a break. He asks to use the restroom. And that is where Jimmy Ray Beagle's strange story turns even more bizarre.
Well, he's been in there quite a long time, at which point I went to the bathroom door and I knocked on the door and I said, Jimmy, about finished.
Beagle refuses to come out of the bathroom. Redmond decides to help him out. Redmond kicks in the door and falls forward into the cramped bathroom. To his right sits Jimmy Ray on the ground next to the toilet.
And Mr. Beagle was in a crouched position, in a combat stance with his arms extended toward me with the firearm, which was cocked and in my face.
Jimmy Ray Beagle is pointing a smuggled .38 revolver at Redmond's head.
And he was telling me, "Jim, if you don't get out, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you." And during the course of him talking to me, I just more or less sprang backwards out of the door to the hallway.
For 9 hours, police talk to their suspect through the bathroom door, getting more than they ever wanted from Jimmy Ray Beagle.
He is passing notes to me out from underneath the door. He's writing on the walls. He's writing on the sinks. He's writing on every little piece of paper that he can find in the bathroom, confessing his crimes.
Just before midnight, the SWAT team's patience wears thin. They pump knockout gas into the bathroom. Beagle responds.
He shot through the roof the first time, trying to hit me in the roof with deploying the gas. Just a few seconds later, he started firing through the doorway, through the walls. And at that point, one of our team members inside the perimeter here engaged him through the doorway.
This is footage shot from outside the police station. Inside, Jimmy Ray and the police trade rounds. It ends quickly, with a final shot from inside the small bathroom. Jimmy Ray Beagle is found slumped against a toilet after having shot himself in the chest. Why did Jimmy Ray Beagle kill two men? The best guess is greed, pure and simple. Greg Wood and Don Hill had a total of $20 taken off their dead bodies. The two guns Beagle took from Wood, he resold for $75. 2 lives for less than $100. Some crimes even when they are solved, never quite add up.